Time to farm for fog fragments and celestial accessories.
7k dreamer please.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be looking at the special dungeon for Mythical Awakened Mist. Mist has a special ability which allows her to swap HP with the enemy with the highest HP. So this is something that we'll be observing later on in the dungeon because it can potentially be a skill that delays your entire run. And she also reduces block rate for all enemies, so that means she has a very high chance to inflict critical and lethal damage on you, and if you don't have very good block rate then you definitely will be taking quite a bit of damage, especially if your heroes are not geared well, and we'll talk about gear later on after the entire match. For her other skills, it basically is just pretty heavy hitting because of the crit and lethal multipliers that she has innately. And we'll be looking at my team. I'm using this team with Shane as the DPS, Zahara is there for block rate reduction, Rachel is there to debuff Mist, Ares for taunt, and Eileen for crit increase and physical attack increase. And of course Shane is the DPS with Pet Kill. Mist is an offensive hero, so Kayle is going to be very useful here. So it tends to go this way whereby Mist is going to speed attack first, but she will be attacking Ares due to Ares' taunt. The first skill you should use is Phoenix because this will increase the damage Mist takes as well as decrease her defense, if I'm not wrong. And as you see, Rachel's Awakened skill is up, which means lethal damage for Shane is also going to increase by 20%. And from there on, you're just going to spam Shane's attack because beyond this, there's no other active skill that you need to use, and unfortunately, I get blocked here. Even though Zahara is on the field, 30% reduction, there's still a block chance, which means Mist block rate is pretty high. So interestingly, Zahara uses his effect attack on Mist, which reduces her block rate by 40%. Furthermore, so that means there's gonna be a very high chance for her not to block anymore. And from here on, I hope I don't see any more blocking because as long as you don't get blocked, you're gonna have a very good chance to complete this very quickly. And yes, we don't get blocked here. It's time for Shane to transform. I'm pretty sure the PvE skill cooldown duo doesn't work in Special Dungeon, and it's something that they haven't fixed for a very long time, since the reboot I believe. So that's why there will be some invisible cooldown on Shane, so she cannot consecutively chain her attacks like she will do in other modes, so I'm not too sure why that's the case here. So as you can see here, Shane hits super hard, definitely not able to KO Mist, but you know, it's still something, still very good damage. And Mist, when she uses her effect attack, she disables your Awaken gauge for 3 turns, but it doesn't matter here because most of my units are on passive, Awaken passives, and she won't reduce it, she'll only prevent the charging, so it's still okay, especially after Shane has transformed, it doesn't matter at all. And boy, she sounds really angry. Her angst is just hitting beyond the roof. So there's a lot of bleeding going on. She has very high chance to bleed, and all this we will talk about in her review later on. So with this Shane attack, she's gonna do the HP swap. Do you hear that sound? Yeah, she actually swapped HP with my Eileen, but you see that it doesn't exactly give her any HP. Okay, her bar is super small, and that's because my Eileen's HP is peanuts compared to her HP. She is after all a dungeon boss, so her HP was extremely high, and my Eileen's HP will definitely not be able to cover that. So I guess this is a good observation, especially in future. Later we'll be observing her in PvP, we will see how the HP swap works, because if your enemy's highest HP hero still has a pretty low HP, then it still won't benefit Mist a lot. So now I'm gonna show you guys my hero builds. For my Shane, I've given her crit and lethal, double counter, PvE skill cooldown, PvE physical attack, and PvE crit and lethal damage, along with Willful Ring and Isabella's illusion to attack twice. So why am I giving her crit and lethal in this case? You see that her crit and lethal is only at 42%, so why don't I actually focus on one stat, maybe lethal or crit alone? So you need to take into account that Shane has a passive that increases her lethal rate by 30%, as well as my guild buff, which increases lethal rate by 30%. So the total lethal rate increase outside of Shane is already 60%. Okay, so that gives her 102% lethal. And for crit, I have my Masteries at 10%, you have Eileen at 20%, and also my crit guild buff of 30%, so that is a total of 60%. Also, that gives you 102% crit rate. Okay, so with these two in place, you can definitely guarantee that your Shane's multipliers are maxed out. The only thing that will hinder this is the enemy's block rate. Okay, so also do note that for her traits, I also increase lethal and crit rate and increase damage on offensive, and for fighter soul as well. You don't have to give her counter HP armor. I think HP is fine since Ares should be doing the countering. And for Zahara, I don't really want to look into his equipment because he is based on a PvP build. Same for my Eileen. We'll look at Rachel's build later as a reference for all three of them. The next important hero that you need to look at will be Ares, because you need very high counter on Ares, otherwise she won't be able to reduce Shane's cooldown properly. She does have 91% counter rate here, and along with 10% on your Masteries, this will give 100% counter. So over here you see that I have counter armor, counter jewel, counter trait. You can even give her counter accessory if you have Willfully and counter accessory. Willfully and counter accessory is a good choice, but over here I've chosen to give her evasion. She has more of a defensive kind of build seen from her jewels and fighter soul, so that's something that you want to go for to preserve her, because if your Ares is not well built, she could be pummeled to death very easily by Mist. So we're going to look at Rachel as a reference for Zahara, Rachel herself, and Eileen, because my Eileen and Zahara are both on PvP builds. So for Rachel, you see I given her block rate, and the rest of the equipment is pretty lame. Okay, PvE defense. If you don't have PvE defense jewel, you can give her just any other blue jewel. Block rate increase. You can even give her HP armor. You can even give all three of them HP armor. They are really just there for their passive. Rachel is just there for one-time Phoenix, and that's basically it. Okay, so all you need to do is just to remember to give them enough bulk, sufficient bulk through HP armor, through proper PvE armor, that would be best, and then also some blue jewels, that would be good as well. And I think beyond that, there's nothing too much to worry about. We'll then be looking at Masteries. So for Masteries, if you're using Shane, this will tend to be your setup, everything on the left and lethal damage on the right, and that's basically it. So I hope you guys can clear this dungeon well, because it does give you celestial accessories which are more useful than whatever the Galidus dungeon gave us, and it's also supposedly easier than the Galidus dungeon. So stay tuned for the arena review of Mist. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much, and see you!